Savannah, since you brought up Caleb Williams, I got to say, as soon as that news broke, my first thought was Georgia would have been the last place in the country I would have thought of. But, I'm going USC first and foremost because of his obvious ties to Lincoln Riley. And then I'm going with some other fairly top level programs that have quarterback issues. And then I kept hearing Georgia, Georgia, Georgia. And I'm like, what? Why Georgia? And there's NIL rumors out there. But besides that, my goodness, I know that you don't know anything for sure until decisions are made known after the game about the NFL draft. But all these quarterbacks most likely are going to, they may transfer, but they're going to stay in college. There's nobody that's definitely going to the NFL, right?
Not to my knowledge. I think if JT had a whole year under his belt, he could be somebody for sure. But it would be kind of silly for him to transfer again and possibly have. Yeah, I'm not necessarily 100% sure how that whole process works anymore. Because used to, you transfer and you get immediate eligibility, then you're good. But can he transfer again and get immediate eligibility? I don't know. The only quarterback. Yeah, so it would be kind of silly for him to transfer out. Stetson does have a year of eligibility with the COVID situation, but I mean, as the fans treat him, who knows? If he wins it all, dude, go enjoy yourself. Like you did your work. I think Carson Beck would be the only person out of all that whole quarterback room that could go somewhere else. But the whole Caleb Williams thing was kind of interesting to me because I'm in the same page as you. Like Georgia doesn't need him. Georgia has a 5-star quarterback sitting in the quarterback room running scout team right now in Brock Vandagriff, and he's just as good, if not better, than Caleb. And the interesting thing is, Brock was committed to Oklahoma and came back home to Georgia, and that's when Caleb's relationship with Georgia kind of flipped to Oklahoma, and that's why he chose them. So while Caleb would have given a lot of proven experience from running the Oklahoma offense this season, I think Georgia's going to be okay. The Georgia fans need to realize, like, Kirby and Todd Monken have something going on, and they're showing Brock every step of the way what he needs to do, and him and Gunnar are going to be battling it out. And if JT does stick around, like, he's just waiting for his turn at this point. And so many people are like, well, it was this year. No, it didn't have to be. Like, people forget he still had 2 years of eligibility left, 3 if you want to, almost take this one as a year too. So it's going to be interesting to see the offseason, but I think there's going to be a big quarterback battle in the spring. And if JT sticks around, he should be the guy because of his, veteran status. And he's been there, done that.
Savannah, you brought up the other Brock a few minutes ago. So, he tore up Michigan, as we expected. They had matchup issues. And with all the things that went wrong against Alabama, it wasn't him, that's for sure. They had matchup issues as well. So this guy, I'm not going to say that I predicted him to have this incredible freshman year, but I was a bit surprised how much he was disregarded going into the season because I had heard about how good he was and looked at the ratings and looked at his tape and that sort of thing. So yeah, his legend early in his career continues to grow.
Yeah, he broke Terrence Edwards' touchdown record for a single season with his touchdown catch against Michigan, and so he's breaking records left and right. And I think a lot of people kind of disregard what some of the California kids bring to the table, but that kid has the moxie and the attitude, and he runs around like he's a senior and he should be going to the NFL. And there's some guys that think that he would be able to hang in the NFL now. And after, what he did against Alabama, I would have to say so. He does still have some freshman tendencies. He did that last interception, or one of the 2 interceptions against Alabama. He stopped running his route and the defender was right there behind him. So that kind of was a little bit his fault, but Stetson should have placed the ball a little bit better too. But Brock Bowers is a force. And he has stepped up in the biggest way when Darnell Washington went down with his ankle injury. And I think so many people thought Darnell would be back quicker than he was, and he just wasn't. And so Brock kept running with it. And that kid, I'm excited. I'm so happy he's a true freshman, and Georgia gets to keep him around for at least 2 more seasons if he decides to go as a junior. But I think he didn't get enough credit from a lot of people, even throughout the season. And the John Mackey Award just flat out refused to put him in the finalist, and he had better stats, I think, better than the 2 of the 3 finalists. And so I just think it was kind of disrespectful. And then he did what he did against Alabama in the SEC championship. But he's going to be somebody that I'm pretty sure Alabama's going to figure out who to put on him. So Georgia's going to have to spread it out a little bit more, but get him his looks where he needs to, because even downfield, the kid's a hybrid. I mean, everybody wants to be like, he's a tight end, he's not a receiver. But I'm like, he can do anything a receiver can do as well. So that kid's he keeps surprising me, week after week. And I think he's a little over 200 yards away from breaking Terrence Edwards' single season passing record. So it's going to be a fun game to see how he plays.